Hello, property nomads. Hope you're well. So there are plenty of issues with councils up and down the country at the moment, and this is just a sign of councils losing the plot and maybe getting too tricky and too cute for themselves. And I imagine if you're like myself and you don't really like paying your council tax because you don't think it actually goes to anything useful, then you're probably going to get quite angry at this headline. But this is: bankrupt Labour Council spent £2 million of taxpayers' money on cars that didn't meet its own eco standards. Yes, you heard that right. A council has spent £2 million of taxpayers' cash on cars that didn't even meet its own eco standards. And it's no wonder that Birmingham City Council declared bankruptcy back in September. Absolutely criminal, this, to be perfectly honest with you. And it just goes to show that when, obviously the last 3 or 4 years have been quite tough, physically, mentally, loads of different reasons why that we won't go into. You know what they are, I know what they are. And you would have thought that people would have a fiduciary duty to make sure that stuff is done properly and that every penny that's being printed at the printing press or that's in the council's hands should be taken care of properly. But no, councils who probably have no idea of how to run a business or any idea how to, well, in this case, run a council, are just pissing away cash, to be perfectly honest. And this is, I had to read this a couple of times before I've done a video on it because it's just daft. It just is absolutely daft. So a Freedom of Information request did reveal that Birmingham City Council spent £2.1 million in the 22-23 financial year on hiring vehicles that did not comply with the standards of its own ultra-low emission zone. So apart from London, Birmingham was the first city outside of London to adopt a ultra-low emission zone. And again, the reason for that is, they would have called it climate change, but to be honest, they needed a bit of a cash generator. It didn't help in the end because, hey, they've gone bankrupt, but they needed a cash generator, probably lied about that and disguised it as climate change. Then they brought in their clean air zone. Now, as a result of that, that's what they've done. But then for some reason, they decided when they were hiring all their vehicles, they hired all these vehicles, and then voila, they weren't even compliant themselves. Just utter ludicrousy. And you're probably watching this, listening to this, thinking, Rob, the world's gone mad. And do you know what? I completely agree with you. It is absolutely insane. The council, as we said, declared bankruptcy in September. Unlucky. Although apparently the clean air zone has brought in £79 million since coming into force. And again, just come out and say it's a cash cow, damn it. Don't lie. Just say, look, that's a healthy amount of cash to bring in. Just say it's a cash cow, but you probably get more respect. A Taxpayers Alliance spokesman said, and I quote, "As Birmingham residents prepare for huge cuts to services and council tax rises, news of this waste will only compound their misery," end quote. Absolutely. You can't trust the council to spend your cash properly, so why pay them in the first place? Apparently, Birmingham City Council was also written off close to 70,000 clean air fines. It's also, as we said, one of the 7 cities other than London to have introduced the scheme. If you're non-compliant, apparently you're charged £8 a day, rising to £50 for heavy goods vehicles, buses and coaches. Yeah, so just to compound misery as well, apparently the report has also revealed the huge scale of problems that it's going to have, because it's got an expected budget shortfall of 164.8 million in 24-25 and 177.1 million in 25-26. I mean, they're crazy numbers, to be perfectly honest with you. And again, I'm not surprised that they've gone bankrupt. But let's get back to the nooks and crannies of this. We've got a council, in this case Birmingham City Council, who are bankrupt. who have bought in an ultra low emission zone, and you might as well have just said it's a cash cow, don't lie about it. They bought that in, and then through the council tax they're collecting and business rates they're collecting and everything they're collecting, they've managed to piss away £2.1 million of that on hiring cars that didn't even meet its own eco standards. I mean, Nomads is what you say in Mexico to that. That is might as well be criminal activity. And the challenge is we're seeing more of this stuff in and around the UK, and it always seems to fall on the taxpayers. So you pay your council tax, you pay your services or whatever it is. Don't be surprised if your council tax goes up, and as a result of councils being inept at being able to run absolutely anything. There's probably an argument, and again, I don't know the ins and outs of Birmingham City Council. There's probably an argument that the council's too big. Sometimes the problem with government is there's too much government. There's too much regulation, too many people involved, too many cooks spoil the broth, so to speak. And it's utter madness. As I said, I couldn't quite believe this story when I read it, and this is what we're faced with. And if you're a property owner or you own your own home, or even if you rent, to be fair, the chances are you're going to see your council tax increased. And these are some of the things that it goes to. Councils wasting that cash on not even meeting their own standards. You couldn't make it up. You literally couldn't make this up. It's laughable, to be honest. Also quite sad. That being said, just a massive thank you to everyone that has subscribed to the YouTube channel recently. We're noticing it's making a big difference in the amount of downloads we're getting and subscribers as well. If you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do go and do so. Small favor, please go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It does make a massive difference, and use that bell notification thingy to get updated as and when new video content is up and about. But yeah, please be careful of where your council tax is going, because it's pretty much criminal activities, crazy stuff. See you in the next video.